Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
What's up, guys?
What up, everybody?
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I feel like we haven't done this in a while.
I know.
Feels like forever.
Feels rusty.
Episode 23, Terrible
Episode
Reception
23.
Podcast. Let's see if I still got it. Welcome, everybody on YouTube. Welcome, everybody on Spotify. Welcome, everybody on Apple Podcasts. And welcome anybody else.
Welcome any welcomes.
Anybody listening to us from anywhere else.
Yes.
If you do listen to us outside of those platforms, please let us know, because we don't know exactly where we're at now.
I had a couple people inquire, what platforms we're on. So I said Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube. And I know we have it on our front page on Spotify. Benatton Music.
WWF.com.
WWF.com. You can check out all the Terrible Reception podcasts. That'd be a dope little...
collaboration with WWE,
right?
I wouldn't mind.
They're like, it's the Terrible Reception podcast.
Get Jim Ross to do our intro.
That'd be amazing.
Maybe that should be our aim for when the platform gets bigger.
I'm always like,
see where Jim Ross is now.
I'm always like interested to see where the platform takes us. You know what I'm saying?
That would be dope.
Yeah,
to see into the future. But anyway,
you could end up on TED Talk, or you could end up on the WWE.
Yeah. Either platform.
Either platform.
I feel like WWE is a form of a TED Talk.
It is.
You go up there and just talk your shit.
And that's why Steve Austin is the man.
Yeah. There's a fly flying around in here, unless there's like a thread hanging off of the shirt that keeps touching my arm.
I hate that when you think it's something else. Like, oh, is this a spider web or is this a thread?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When was it? A couple of days ago, I was at in Hoboken, just chilling for whatever, just having a day. And we stopped to get something to eat, and we were sitting outside. It's like at one of those like bars / restaurants that turn into like a little club at night type of thing. So
sounds like Hoboken.
Yeah, exactly. Like every eating spot, like you could go to a yogurt spot, it'll turn into a club.
Oh wow. Okay.
What is that?
Internet just said, hey.
Anyway, so we go to this spot and we're eating outside.
Yeah.
And I kept feeling like something was flying over my head, so I thought it was a fly, so I kept doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And then at one point I see like we got a little gust of wind, and it was like a balloon that flew over this way, because there was a balloon hanging on right behind me. Stupid balloon. But anyway, welcome back.
Yes.
As you guys can see, we're a little rusty, so forgive us. We haven't recorded our own in almost a month, right?
Has it been a month?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we did the collaboration with the Fantasy Bros.
Yes.
3 weeks ago.
Fantasy Bros, like, shout out to you guys. But like, now that I think about the title of your podcast, you guys are gonna hate me. It sounds like a side like porn site, like Fantasy Bros.
Absolutely.
I like it though. You're like fantasybros.com, and you're like, and you're like, okay.
And then you get a little.
You're like, oh shit.
And then you go on the side, they're just talking football.
And it says Fantasy Bros. Let's talk balls.
Let's talk balls. Subscribe to the YouTube if you guys haven't already.
That wasn't a diss to you guys. We're just having
fun. We love you guys, man.
That
was a lot of fun. Subscribe to the YouTube. Before we get into that, subscribe to the YouTube, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and leave a review.
Yes.
Everywhere you can.
Yes.
See, I'm rusty. I used to be like on point with all this stuff. But anyway, like, subscribe, YouTube. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. On Apple Podcasts, you can leave a review and a rating.
Yes.
So please do that, because the more ratings and the more reviews we see, everybody that stumbles across it, they'll be like, yo, let's check these comments out. You check the comments out and be like, yo, this podcast is lit.
Yeah.
So let's get in there and get lit.
Definitely. And speaking of lit, I know we've been wanting to reveal this for a minute, and I think it's time.
Yeah.
We already did it on social media, but for those that follow us, maybe not on social media, on like Instagram or something, today we're unveiling our great accomplishment of who we signed with for our distribution deal as a music company. So
and just to be clear, it is a distribution deal. It is not a record deal.
It's not a 360. We still own our masters. And I think we're in a great position. I really feel blessed with this opportunity.
The Angry Train thinks so too.
It wouldn't be the same without the Angry Train. Angry Train needs to be part of this situation. But I'll give you the honors of letting the people know.
So We signed a distribution deal with a subsidiary of Sony Music.
If you guys don't know what that term means, it means sub.
Yeah. So just think about it like as an umbrella.
Yes.
And The Orchard, which is the company that we signed to, is underneath that umbrella.
Yes.
So,
which is Sony.
Yeah. So we signed a distribution deal with The Orchard,
Yes.
who has distribution deals with people like Diplo, Anuel,
Pitbull,
believe Pitbull, T-Pain, Twista, people like that.
People that we actually admire. Yeah.
So we're in great company with some of our favorite artists.
Yep.
And we are very, 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 very excited to see where this this step in our lives take us.
And the beautiful and gorgeous, still to this day, Maya, yeah.
It's funny because we haven't told you guys, so I guess we'll tell you guys the story. So we take a trip to the office. I think we might have mentioned that we take a trip to the office, and the office is like in this like hidden building somewhere. It's like a little tiny door going to a corridor.
Can I take you 2 steps back before you go into it?
Yeah.
Basically, Jay and I came across the situation because we went to some billionaire's book signing, and we have a great gentleman by the name of Arthur that we work with during Fashion Week, and he was trying to connect us with basically the legal team from The Orchard. And we met the gentleman. We're not going to put out names because sometimes people probably wouldn't want that, but he met with us and he said that he would set up a meeting with us. And then from there, because like a lot of people, like I know Jay and I, we always question, how did this person get this situation or whatever, like how did it really come about? And we always feel like with artists there's this missing piece of like in between you being independent or whatever and then you blowing up. So like nobody ever tells you like how did you make it story. So like I wanted to fit
funny
that
because I watch interviews all the time, and we talk about this all the time. It's like you watch the success story of an artist that you enjoy, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you have Jay-Z, right? You watch Jay-Z, you watch an interview of Jay-Z, and it's like, for some reason, there's always that blackout area where it's like, how did you get from here to here? That's why I watched this interview, and they never speak on it.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, like you watch these things, and there's always some kind of connection to get to where they make it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
A lot of it is luck, obviously, and a lot of it is placement.
Yeah.
Somebody placing you in the right place, or you placing yourself in the right place at the right time.
It's like 50 Cent said. I think he always said it's 50% material, 50% opportunity. And opportunity has a mixture of luck and everything else into it. But if you guys have solid foundation with, I guess, your music or whatever, I think that'll speak for itself. And I feel like that's one of our advantages that like help us take us the extra step. You know what I'm saying? Like it's years of showing that we've been active without the help of any other company or anything else. And I think Gary Vee said that too. Like people just want to see that you're committed to what you do and that you're working and you're staying relevant, that you're posting on your social media platform as much as you can. And I know Jay does a great job with that. So
I try to.
Yeah.
Could be better, but I try to.
It's all good. I mean, like, there's a lot to balance,
So, where was I going with that?
So you were talking about
Maya. So, I went years without seeing where the hell Maya was, and for some reason, a couple weeks before we went to the office, I saw her pop up on my social media feed or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And she was like promoting a song or something like that. Oh no, she was performing at Atlantic City.
Oh, dope.
I was like, oh, that's interesting. She's still doing music. She still looks great.
Oh, man. Amazing.
And we walk into the office, and it's crazy how life works. You don't see this artist for, 10 years maybe?
Yeah. I mean, the last time I saw her, like, again, dating ourselves, but I saw her on the box.
No, it must have been a little after that.
No, I swear I haven't seen her since then.
It has to be a little after that.
I swear to you, on my personal experience.
The box has been gone for a minute.
I know. But that's the last time I saw her. Like, it was her and Jay-Z with that
Best of Me remix.
Yeah.
I feel like she did something else. Moulin Rouge, I think, was after that. No, she was on that.
That was Pink, Lil Kim. I don't know.
I'm gonna look that shit up.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's funny how the world works, because you go years without seeing these artists, even people. Like you can go years without seeing somebody, and then you think about them, and it's like, oh shit, where's such and such been? And then 2 or 3 days later, you bump into ruin my editing.
We thought we were on the we thought we were on the the free freeway with that.
Whatever. Well, we walk into the office and rambling on the story anyway, so you could cut the story short. We walk into the office. It's a cool little office. It's like one of those startup. I want to say that the Orchard is a startup company, but it looks like those vibes, like a startup company vibe, where people are walking freely. You see a dog walking by.
Yeah. It has like a very Google atmosphere,
right? And then in the waiting area, there's like a couple little couches, and then there's a TV, and then Maya's playing on the TV.
A bunch of different music videos.
Right. So So another thing that has changed since we recorded the last video was our video setup. So we have two new cameras, two video cameras, cinematic cameras, and it's going to make our editing 10 times faster and 10 times easier. So hopefully this can keep us with keeping up with releasing videos more often, or episodes more often.
Now the beauty about these cinema cameras, we have the Blackmagic 4K and the Blackmagic 6K. We're like recording in 1080 HD on each one, and as you guys see, it's just, I feel like the colors from being cinematic cameras are like way better out of the camera, and like the details, like sometimes sharpening and all resolution doesn't really matter when you guys have like really good quality imagery, and that's what these cameras give.
Yeah, man, probably see more fuzz on this thing.
Yeah, right.
But like I said, it'll cut down on editing time, and we don't have to stand up and like end recordings, because the Sonys only record at a half hour at a time, which was one of the most annoying things in the world. But
it's got like automatic focus on the Sonys. I know these cameras don't. We're just keeping it at an aperture where we're like in focus. But for anybody that's like wants to do, like, if you guys are artists, right, and you want a camera that you can like record yourself, it might not have like automatic focus or stabilization, but these cameras for the price point, literally the 4K camera is about $1,300, and that comes with the program DaVinci Resolve to edit. It's a lot. I found that it's a lot faster to get your edits out. Also, when it renders and like when you export, it's a lot faster. You have raw internal recording, so like if you guys edited like raw pictures, it's that same vibe. You can get like 12-bit color out of these. I know it's a lot of technical things, but if you guys are trying to shoot your own music videos as an artist and want more of that cinematic appeal, you can definitely get these out of these cameras. And the 6K is a little more expensive. This is a micro four thirds on the 4K, so you have like more lens options, but the 6K has a Canon mount. So if you guys have like Canon glass from like maybe like your photo camera, you can mount it on these and like just shoot away. And I'm telling you, like, you guys want to look like you have like that red camera appeal, minus renting it or paying $30,000. Like, this is the way to go.
Yes, sir. So
that's a little
these
insight.
cameras are making a splash.
Oh yeah. So that's the best way to put it. Also, new tech. I just got this in the mail.
Fuck you, man.
I didn't open it.
Still waiting for mine. I'm gonna get mine tonight, actually.
You got the fidget spinner on it, or the 3-way.
Does that trigger you? Apparently, it's triggering people.
It doesn't trigger me in the sense, like I said, like it has to look kind of gruesome. Like if somebody opens a pomegranate, that's disgusting to me. It looks like a fucking like herpes brain.
Just going back to a couple episodes. Thank God that we put that out there, so you guys know what tryptophobia is.
Yeah.
There was something on Twitter. I think somebody saying that the camera and the way the cameras are placed is causing a lot of triggers.
I don't know.
Tryptophobia triggers.
A lot of even. I mean, I feel like people like super impressed by the iPhone 11 in the sense they said the quality's gone up. I mean,
I've been hearing great things about the camera.
Yeah. Like I feel like I watched this. I don't know where she's from. I feel like she's maybe from Finland. She's like a photographer, and she said the best thing that you could do, since you have these camera options, is if you guys download Lightroom for your camera, it can shoot RAW. So there's a difference in like
from Lightroom.
If you shoot from the camera in Lightroom, you can shoot Cinema D and G, and that'll give you more of a raw option with photo quality that's going into your phone. And there's a lot more details, like you'll see in skin tones and stuff like that, rather than the camera's main function through photo. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I saw that this morning, and she said wide is too wide, but the color rendition and everything, it's like it's close to an A6400 from Sony. It's not, you can't really compete, but for somebody that just had the phone and didn't have a camera, she said the pictures, if you have a nice composition, is more than acceptable for 12 megapixels. So
that's dope. Well, I'm excited to use it.
Very much.
I'm gonna try to use it this weekend.
I think it's cool too. Like, I wish that was on our cameras, especially with the Sonys, that you can go from recording to photo real quick, or photo to you hold down the button and it records constantly. So like, say you're in mid photo and you just wanted to capture, I don't know, the person as some B-roll, you just hold it down and it becomes automatic record instead of swiping to video. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I feel like, doesn't it have like the option already to do, well, it's not by holding that down. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I was thinking, because I know you can record and just take snapshots as you're recording.
Yeah, you could do that. Or it's like a vice versa thing now. And also the Pro Photo, which is a lighting company. It's a very high-end lighting company for like professional photography. They came out with, I believe it's called the C1. I saw a good friend of ours named Lawrence, and he was going to the opening of this new product, and it's supposed to work like a strobe light, and it's triggered by your camera. It's made specifically for the iPhone and this new camera, where you can have like a little strobe light. If you're a street photographer and don't have like a camera, you can, you know, lighting is everything. So sometimes you can see, like, you can make great footage with an iPhone or anything else. Wow, my dad's calling. That's funny. I wish we could just get him on, like, you know,
so you can hear what he sounds like.
Yeah, right. Because all these stories I'm telling.
What was I saying? Yeah, I always explain to everybody that lighting is everything. Like, you could get good photos from an iPhone, but it's like, if you're in the shittiest lighting situation ever, it's not gonna work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've been hearing that the low light, the night mode function, it works really well on these. Yeah. But like, if you have like an iPhone prior to this one, people would ask you to take pictures of like a club or at a bar or something. They don't understand the idea that you can't really edit a photo like that. Exactly. Because you'll get too much grain when you lift up the shadows. Exactly. When you lift the shadows and stuff like that.
The thing that's most important for people to understand, and like, if you guys want to delve into this a little bit more so you understand how you're going to get better quality out of any camera that you purchase, like these cinema cameras or a red camera, the most important is dynamic range. And what dynamic range is, and like how it corresponds to when you guys see 10-bit color, 8-bit color, 12-bit color, which is on these cameras, is that it's literally the gradient from pure white to pure black. And like, sometimes there's a smoother transition versus like 8-bit is more blocky. So like, when you guys are watching a video, or like Jay has seen it in the past, when you have like an 8-bit camera, sometimes if it doesn't have like a high dynamic range where it's capturing like all these different like colors and things, you notice like in your picture how like if the horizon of the sky is white and then it transitions into blue, sometimes it looks like these wavy lines of like it doesn't look like a smooth transition from white to blue. It looks more blocky, and that has to do again with your bit color depth. And it also has to do with your dynamic range of how much information your camera can capture. So with a lot of these cameras, people are seeing a quality change because with the camera, it comes with more dynamic range, which gets more information, and it also has usually a better bit depth and color. So now you, instead of like, say you were trying to turn up the greens on your photo, it doesn't like fall apart where it's like you're seeing all these like weird, what they call I don't know, little bits of information that break apart, versus like everything holds together. It has more of a high, it's like dough, you can expand it more.
It's a good way to explain it.
Yeah.
And for the people that have never understood what dynamic range is, they're probably like lost as hell. But
no, dynamic range is just like how much information is being grasped. Like, some cameras, like if you're shooting the sky, it kind of looks white in the background, versus like a cinema camera, it's kind of like how you see it. You'll end up seeing the blues in the sky rather than it seeing foreground and background being too overexposed or underexposed.
Yeah, man. Let me see. So, like I said, we've been gone for almost 4 weeks, personally.
Dude, that flew.
Do you have any topics you want to discuss before I go into my little list of topics that I got?
I felt like I did.
I feel like we did so much. Like we did Fashion Week a couple weeks ago.
We did do Fashion Week.
We didn't even talk about that.
We also opened up our own. We reopened our banking.
Yeah.
I have a cool little announcement. I don't know if you guys peeped it, but I was in the new Akon video for Can't Say No.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was really cool because it's like director Rock Davis. He's like a native to Jersey. He's like one of the biggest directors out here. And we've been working with Rock for a long time. We've mentioned him before on prior podcasts. But he put me in the role as a private investigator in the new Akon video. I'm supposed to be checking on Akon because his girlfriend feels like he's cheating on her, but he's just buying her a new car. It's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I saw Akon. He was in Times Square and the video was playing. So I was like, hey, mama, we made it. I'm in Times Square. No, it's a cool feeling. Like sometimes my mom said, how does that feel? And I said it. I wasn't saying this in an arrogant way. I was just saying it feels normal. Mm-hmm. I feel like it doesn't it's hard to even comprehend sometimes. You just feel like, okay, this happened, but you're proud of it. You're like, this is an artist that I look up to, I just think it's cool. Like certain things, when you see yourself where you feel like you should have been, it's that same feeling when we hit like bigger stages and it just feels right. You feel like, okay, this is where I should be as an artist,
Yeah. I feel like it doesn't hit you as hard because maybe it was for somebody else.
I guess so. Because I said if it was us on a billboard, like saying
that'd be different.
Yeah, it'd be like completely different. But it's not that I still don't have that appreciation or just that honor to be up there. It's just different when I guess it's somebody else, but it's still cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let me see. Anything else? Like we mentioned, we did do Fashion Week.
Yes.
And we did our photos that we edited ended up in Vogue, right?
Yes.
Vogue.
Your photos.
Vogue China something?
Yes, Vogue China. That was cool.
That's another thing though. Is like everybody's like, oh my God, congratulations. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we don't get credit for it, but
yeah,
it's like kind of shining light on the designer.
How do you feel about that in a sense that like, since we are paid, it's almost like you're paid to be disclosed. It's like you put in the work.
Kind of like a ghost producer.
Yeah, like it's like a ghost producer thing. Are you just like, okay, you're proud because you did it and you kind of have like the proof if somebody really asked?
For something like that, yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, we got paid for it. We ended up in the magazines. Pretty dope.
True. Sometimes I feel a certain way. Like it's like...
Shout out, Paul.
Shout out, Paul.
The photographer.
I was gonna talk about professionalism, but we have spoken on that in the past, where it's like I just noticed there's a lot of people in high positions, but doesn't mean they're always professional.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about what we just talked about before we went on air?
Yeah. But it's okay.
Shout out to somebody that I know that watches somebody's Instagram stories and enjoys them quite a bit. You don't know what happens behind closed doors.
No.
We know the secret.
There's a lot of people that like, again, the smoking mirrors are incredible. Like they should get rewards for the smoking mirrors rather than what people are feeding into.
People are asking like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
Quick side note, completely switching gears, but I want to give a shout out. You probably will never see this, but Jerome. He's an actor that was in that When They See Us.
Yes.
Docuseries? Not the docuseries, but the miniseries on Netflix.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was Dominican.
Nice.
Shout out to him.
Nice.
We taking over.
I always see Jay taking pride when like an artist is Dominican and like,
man.
They're getting a spot on a song or something.
It's always so dope seeing Dominican artists like on an international scale.
Do you feel like they're an underdog?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, yeah. I would say no, because it's not like, to be an underdog, you have to be on the card. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I feel like we're never on the card.
Gotcha.
As far as, artistry. I mean, we have our own little bubble that we're in, in the particular lane that we're in. But, it's just dope seeing like that song with El Alfa, J Balvin, and Diplo.
Yeah.
How he took Major Lazer and took them to an international level. So now people are probably looking up El Alfa and seeing who the hell he was. And it was dope seeing that sound, hearing that sound on an international level. And then seeing Mr. Jerome over here, also international, winning an Emmy for his role in the miniseries. So
that's how I feel about
dope.
like when you hear like French artists, or I think it's cool like Les Twins, like when you see French people kind of like end up in the American market, you know, whether dancing for Beyonce or whatever, bring a little bit of that Parisian culture, like super dope.
Yeah, man.
I wish there was more of that in America. There's a lot of that overseas where you're seeing a lot more of the collaborations and mixtures, or even if people don't understand English, like it's on the radio versus here, like it's more of I don't know, discrimination or prejudice because it's like, we don't understand that.
We're arrogant.
Yeah. So it's like you, even if it's a vibe and you can just feel it, even if you don't understand it, like you're not exposed to it as much.
It's kind of like the metric system.
Yes.
How the U.S. doesn't use the metric system.
Everybody else in the world is non-GMO and uses the metric system, but
Except
America said, nope.
Fuck that, America.
America.
Where was I going with that? Going on to the topic of not understanding things with music. I feel like a lot of the artists that are out these days are paved the way for future collaborations with artists, you know, along the lines, kind of like when reggaeton was popping.
Yes.
Everybody was listening to reggaeton. Everybody knows who Daddy Yankee is, what Gasolina is.
Speaking of Daddy Yankee, I think he's under Orchard too.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. But yeah, and even like the Danza Kuduros is like, you know, Spanish and Portuguese. And now J Balvin is popping, so people are listening to J Balvin, not understanding a word he's saying, but just the vibe and the flows and just the overall, you know, feel.
Yeah, I feel like Hispanic and Latin culture, to me, it's funny that it's just caught on because when you think about it, like outside of English, Spanish is the largest spoken language within this country. So like for me, you know, it's a little tardy, it's a little late that people are catching on to this whole, you know, Latin music vibe when it's like, it's always been hot. And Fat Joe kind of said it too. He was saying like, even if it's Dominican, Latin vibe, everything's coming from Africa and like blase, blase, blah. So like to me, it's always all connected, but it's like we were always putting like hip hop on the pedestal versus, you know, a lot of these cultures that came first and had this vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where it's being sampled from. Like jazz culture, Afro-Cuban, Latino culture, like you can hear it in the beats that were sampled at first for hip hop. And now it's like, you know, it's just interesting how it works.
Yeah, the world is an interesting place. Just going on along the lines of music, I put you onto the Post Malone album, right?
Very good album.
Very, very good album. I think it should be a front runner for best album of the year. At least the ones that I've listened to. It's definitely in my top 3.
He's dope, but like I feel like he ends up in the category like we do, where it's like, is he hip hop culture? Is he pop culture? Since he's white, like even though they say like, I still feel he
doesn't consider himself a hip hop artist. He just considers himself
he's just
an
artist. But like it's like that blurred lines of where he started to where he went with his career. And I feel like even though like I still feel like there's that for the true hip hop heads that almost maybe carry even a little prejudice still. There's that like they want to downplay his success. You know what I'm saying? I hate that. Like I mean, hip hop culture is like way better in the sense that like it's just like if you're dope, you're dope. Like a lot of the pure heads know that, but I still feel like there's a part of hip hop culture where it's like it is still a little like prejudice. Even you could be like a Latin artist or whatever, and it's like, you know, that everybody feels like it's boogie down Bronx black. It is. That's how it was established. But now, even nowadays, it's like there's always that weird politic in it where it's like, okay, he's alright. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I think he's super dope as just an artist in general. But it's that blurred lines. I feel like a lot of people, even hip hop is pop music now,
Mm-hmm.
but like nobody wants to give it credit. So
Mhm.
he's not gonna get respects for like best album. Even like Jim Jones, he had that great album you put me on too.
Mm.
But like even for hip hop, I don't feel like gives that credit
Mhm.
because you're not popular. It's like
Yeah.
so many weird
Mhm.
fucking lines that good music is not getting recognized.
Well, he'll definitely get his recognition over Jim Jones any day.
You think so?
Yeah.
Mm.
Not a, I mean, hip hop wise, it doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of like whether you recognize the music, period.
Because I
You know
feel
what I
like that Dipset movement it's so big. It's like the Dipset is like influenced so much of the hip hop culture.
But I don't think, like, if you round up 100 people, I bet you 80 of them
Well, no,
will know Post Malone
over
Jim Jones.
I could see that.
They
though.
might know who he is, but ask them if they listen to the album.
Gotcha. No, that's realistic.
Maybe I'll put a poll up, see which one
no,
people listen to.
That's really realistic though.
And his album was spectacular, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe because I wasn't expecting much, and when I listened to it, it was just like, whoa.
I feel like
Jim Jones, I mean, not Post Malone.
Yeah, I feel like when there's less anticipation for a project, sometimes not marketing helps, because if you have this preview and you're hyping it up, people are already going to be judgmental from the jump because
Right.
you're hyping it up and they're like, nah, we got to check in versus
Mm-hmm.
let me just give you this. And then that non-expectation, you
Mhm.
you don't even have time to catch up. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
listening it for face value, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I bring up Post Malone because I was on Twitter a couple days after the album drop,
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed how stupid people are. I mean, I've noticed for a while how stupid people are, but I've noticed how dumb kids are these days, right? And I'm talking about kids maybe, I would say 23 and 24 and younger, right?
Okay.
So it was very similar to when what did Missy do recently? It was like 2 years ago. She was at an award show or something, and people were like, oh my God, they're putting on this person, this new artist, Missy Elliott. She's so dope. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah. But anyway, I was on Twitter and I saw a bunch of people tweeting these things about Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, and they were like, oh my God, he's about to take off because Post Malone put him on an album. Who is this new artist, Ozzy Osbourne? And I'm like, these kids are so
Jesus.
stupid. Like, they have all the technology in the world, right?
to even look up a name.
Right. Like, look up the name before you make these claims. Like, same thing with Missy Elliott. Like, look up Missy Elliott. A shit ton of stuff is going to come up. Same with Ozzy. Ozzy is gonna like have like pages and pages and pages of stuff before you even make that assumption. Like, yo, he's a new artist, he's about to blow up. His post he put him on.
I talk to local artists all the time. They were reposting their album as an anniversary 1 year been out. People are like, yo, I love your new album.
We've had the same situations.
That's what
where
I
we've
told
had,
them. Elevate it.
Friends and family, like years after we dropped Elevator, like, yo, this song's so dope. This video's so dope, man.
It's like at the end of the day, all you can do is be like, I appreciate it.
Thank you for finally catching up.
Damn.
Yeah, the song was like 4 years old or something like that,
Mhm.
and then people started coming up to me like, yo, this song is so dope, how have I never
It's the rich
Yeah.
boy effect when you have Throw Some D's on it. Like you've been
Mhm.
playing that for 5 years. It finally hits the radio. As the artist,
Uh-huh.
you're just tired of the song. You're
Yeah.
just like, why did it
Thankfully,
take so-
Elevated, I still haven't gotten tired of Elevated.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, somebody tags me all the time whenever they play it on their radio, and it's like, yo, this song is timeless, basically.
Yeah.
Like, I can
Classic's
still
a
listen
classic.
to it.
Yeah. Jules said like he feels that it'll still be a radio hit.
Mm.
So I'm not mad at it.
Neither am I.
The magic.
Yeah, man. New to you, old as shit to us. But yeah, I found that really funny how these kids have like all this technology on their hands. Like, you can easily go onto your phone and Google who Ozzy Osbourne is and see his accolades and his accomplishments before you say, hey, check out this new artist, Ozzy Osbourne.
No, it's crazy.
And there was
He's,
like,
I mean, he's,
Mhm.
I mean,
and there was other funny memes of people like not defending him, but like along the lines of like, oh, Ozzy didn't bite the head off of a bat to be treated like this, or
wow.
Ozzy didn't go 90 days doing drugs on a nightly basis, dying and coming back for all this disrespect.
Wait till they find out he had an MTV show. You know what I'm saying?
I want to look that up, see if there was a spike in like streams of his TV show.
It's
That was
crazy.
a really good show.
It was.
It was
Like,
so
somebody's-
interesting.
He's like, Sharon.
And then he would elevate when he's pissed. Sharon! I think there was a compilation on YouTube of the times that he said Sharon.
You know, when we saw Kelly, like she started very heavyweight and then she lost weight and this and that, and like
was the other one Jack? Jack. He had like a couple phases. He was like blonde at one point, emo another point, painted his nails some other time. Yo,
we watched it all.
That was a good show.
It was. Sharon. I kind of had this little thing going for Sharon. Sharon had this. I feel like Sharon Osbourne has a sex appeal.
It's the accent, I think.
It's the accent.
And her carefree attitude.
Yeah.
Jose,
we're going to go to the market.
God damn it, Jose. Anyway. I got it, Jose.
Nobody could understand it
except for her. Sharon knew everything. Like I remember everything. I think on that show they put subtitles or closed captions.
They had to.
Even if your TV's not on, they will put it on for you so you can understand.
TV will let you know. He's like, I'm hungry.
It's like an overgrown baby. Only the mom understands it.
It's so sad though. Like drugs are a motherfucker.
Yeah. But shout out to Ozzy, man. That was a really dope track. Yeah. That was a good collaboration, I think. That was all his collaborations were perfect on that album.
The thing is, when he's speaking in real life, can't understand. He starts singing.
Yo,
he should like a different sing person. His life.
Yo, for real.
He'd be like, she'd be like, sing it to me. Always, I'm hungry.
Oh, I got it. Oh, fucking funny. But another topic I wanted to discuss real quick was
how delicious Blaze Pizza is. No, I'm kidding.
Blaze Pizza is delicious. Thank you for your keto-friendly options now, guys. I was on Twitter, like always, the other day, and there was people talking about how... remember when I came here? I think it was last week, and I showed you a picture of Denzel Washington dressed as Magneto.
Yes.
I finally figured out what that was about.
What is it about?
Because there was people saying, or there was reports or rumors saying that... when they reboot X-Men, that they're going to put black actors to play Magneto and dope. Professor X.
That's dope.
Do you think it's dope?
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm going
to put it out there. I'll give you my opinion.
I'm on a two-side thing, right? I feel for, I mean, sometimes the kids of America don't, in a negative sense, don't see color because their natural way, they fall in love with things if it's dope or whatever. And I don't know, like it's the thing is, it could either enter that crutch lane of we have to put black actors, so blase blah, you know, because we have to have these young kids to have somebody to look up to that's a heroic, you know, whatever, and that's fine. But at the same time, like if the character started out with whatever, like it's just a different depiction. But like for me, I feel like, why don't we introduce more Black Panthers? Why don't we introduce more Blades?
Amen.
You know, like we can just, like, I feel like Marvel can come up with dope characters from the jump. Like we don't have to.
That's where I was going with it. Yeah. Where it's like, with this, I feel like it's pandering at this point, where you're trying to satisfy a certain demographic to the point where, granted, I'm not in this demographic, but I feel I would be insulted.
Yeah, I feel like the black it's disrespectful to the black community at the end of the day, where it's like you get sloppy seconds rather than like
we're doing it just because you guys asked us so goddamn long to do it. You know?
Yeah, it's like I get it, and like I see it especially in Comic-Con. Like I think it's cool, like you know, like when people dress up as their favorite characters. You know, like whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic.
It's dope seeing the flip.
It's dope. It really is dope seeing the flip. And I think what's cool about comic books, that there is always different universes. But again, like if growing up, I was the biggest fan of Blade. Like I had a Blade poster in my room, like from the comic books, or when
just picturing you getting dressed in the morning to the Blade soundtrack.
I loved everything about it. And it's not like I had to feel like I had to be black to be Blade or appreciate the character. It was just he embodied the essence of such a dope character and such a dope hero in a sense. So like I don't know. That's what I'm saying. As a kid, you don't care if it's a dope depiction of a character and you like love the story. I don't know. It might be different for somebody that's black, but as a white kid, like if it's dope to me, and that's the way I've always seen it.
That's the way I see it too. And like I said earlier, it's like I feel like they're kind of pandering at this point. It should be a little insulting at that point, but it's like I feel like there's so many other dope black superheroes out there that aren't being used on the big screen.
Black Panther aesthetically looks so dope. Like it's like just the image looks so fierce, and like I love that about Black Panther.
Like I was thinking, why don't they introduce Bishop?
Yeah,
I mean they did briefly in one of the shitty X-Men movies, but why don't you do that instead of?
That's another thing. Like Bishop, like is a comic that I like from the X-Men. Like just the way he looked and everything else, like
it's like Black Jerry curled Cable. Cable's there.
Exactly.
He's doing the same thing.
They were like same universe. Yeah. That's it.
Just throw him in there.
I don't know.
Rather than, well, whatever. That was my thought.
100%. I feel like
or introduce Luke Cage on a bigger scale, which I don't think that could happen now. But
Luke Cage is a great superhero. I fucking watched every episode on Netflix. Like. Again, when they do that, it's just like it seems like a handicap that doesn't do favor. It's a favoritism that ends up looking.
It feels cheesy to me.
100%.
Kind of like when Endgame, when they had like that girl power moment at the end, it felt super forced.
Very much.
And I was like, come on, really? Could have done it better.
Yeah. No, because like I feel like again, like black culture. There's so much to expand on. Like you can have so many, like, because within black culture, depending on where you live in the world, like sure, now you got Black Panther from Africa, that's like one way. Like why not take like a black character from France and he ends up like almost like, because like Nightcrawler's German, right? So Nightcrawler's like German, like white guy from Germany. So like find another place in the globe of maybe somebody's environment makes up that character. So like there's black people all over the world. Like you could have a black guy from Japan that was raised in Japan, he becomes like this other superhero. Like there's so much room for it. So like I don't know, like it just it's cheesy like you said. And no offense to the black community. Like
well, I spoke to this topic with a couple of friends of mine, black and non-black, and they feel the same. Whether they feel insulted, we didn't really get to that point, but I just feel like I don't know, these two characters are so iconic in the way, because they were actually based on Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, which is dope in itself.
It is very dope, but at the same time, it's like when you think about Magneto and Professor X, like they had to go through the Holocaust already, so you're already putting them in a position like, okay, like come on, why you gotta take the struggle artists? Like yes, they're leaders, they're the biggest ones of their both evil versus good.
Wasn't that like a main story arc for Magneto? He was like part of the Holocaust.
Exactly.
He hated Germans.
All that. So like I'm telling you, like there's so many, like if you took like a superhero that's like a slave character, but you made him like very heroic.
Django, bro. Yeah. Django's the black superhero.
That's what I'm saying. Like, again, I don't know. It's just, there could be so much more done.
I'm going to look up now because I know, Storm is in there. We forgot about that. Black superheroes that already exist that can be incorporated in the Marvel universe.
Exactly.
Bishop's the first one. Storm, that has already been there. Luke Cage. Blade, Misty Knight from Luke Cage, Falcon's already there, Nick Fury's already there, War Machine's already there.
Yeah, like if somebody made War Machine white, like why? Like why?
It would feel weird.
It would feel weird.
Spawn was black?
Yes.
That's true.
Spawn is like one of the illest. That's another one I've literally grown. Like I always like the dark characters. I'm not even gonna lie.
Well, he's like, part of the DC, I think.
I mean, if you want to consider Blackheart, like even like black because of the name, like that's such a fucking dope character because he's like this alien / like I don't know, fantasy being. it just looks fucking dope. Like there's so many dark characters that like spawn that like had to
dark story wise, not pigmented.
No, not pigmented. No. Dark story wise. But that's how I like it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Batman to me could have been black easily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause like you're from like urban environment. You could have been like a wealthy black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Batman was black, I think like it would be even more dope. Like that's the way I see it. Like Batman should have been black.
Okay. That went somewhere I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, but like because like if he was like if he was like a wealthy black gentleman that like had a white service dude, that would flip it already. He's kind of from the city and understands the city, and like if somebody killed his parents like from the hood, like, and that's just the way it was, like I feel like he doesn't even have to grow up in the hood. He could grow up as a black kid from the suburbs or whatever, and like it would just to me have more of a dynamic of how it's represented versus okay, this is a white kid that lost his family and his mom and dad. It's like, what's more realistic? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it could go either way, but
I'm just saying, like, it I feel like it'd be more dope. It'd just be more dope.
All right. So moving on.
Yeah.
I want to open up this platform, and I want to open up the floor, and I want to invite somebody to have a conversation with,
Okay.
and explain to me or to us, because I'm very confused as to the alternate genders that are out there, right? So I say that because Sam Smith recently came out about the pronouns and what he wants to be referred as. He's non-binary or something like that. So I want to have a conversation with somebody to explain to me what that means. Like I can read it on a paper, it's like what 18 genders or something like that, and it's just really confusing to me as to how there can be 18 genders. You know what I mean?
It's a lot.
So
it's a lot. I mean,
I want to put this out there. I want to have a conversation with somebody that has more knowledge on this, preferably somebody that considers themselves one of these, because I can understand male, female, trans female. Outside of that, I don't understand it. So
I think our friend Hawk would have a good insight. Hawk's been on Pose FX. I don't know like what he considers himself, or you know what I'm saying. I can still say himself because you know like I don't know. It's just he's just a great spirit in general. Like he's a great person. But I feel like he could give us more insight, being that he is very he represents his community, and you know there are again those subcategories, but he'd just be interesting because he's such a vibrant person, and I would love. He's put me on. Person. Yeah, he put me on to the trans culture in the sense like he told me to watch Paris is Burning. You can catch that on Netflix, and it's the darker side of the trans community, of what they have to deal with when it came to AIDS, when it came to ballroom culture. How voguing became so big, and how like commercial music kind of like Madonna kind of stole from the culture, but then they used it to their advantage on the ballroom floor, where it started, how it is ended up today. There's a lot of things that go into it, and I think when people become humbled by watching these things or having a better understanding of what the trans community has to go through just to be accepted, you know, it's an eye-opener. And you know, I would just have people watch it in the sense that you have a better understanding for the society we live in. And I think understanding is the basis to peace. So,
and I'm all about respect, and that's kind of just, and the thing is like a lot of people get offended when you misuse their pronoun, which I get. I mean, I don't want anybody to come up to me and be like, hey, she's looking really good today. Like, and you're like, excuse me,
thank you.
But yeah, it's just I want to understand it more, because I'm just honestly confused, very, very confused.
It's a lot
as to how somebody can't Because it's like a feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is me just talking, but it's like a feeling. You feel like a male, you feel like a female,
Yeah.
and then apparently non-binaries don't feel like anything.
I think the beauty about what LGBTQ community from a straight man's perspective has shown me is that love is love. Love doesn't have a face. Love doesn't have a gender. Love is love. And I think that everybody can understand or accept that in a sense, if you love somebody, you love somebody. It doesn't matter who they are, what they are. It's a feeling, like you said. So I think that's the beauty within that culture or subcultures. And that's what I've learned from it. Like if you love me, you love me. You're not judging me from a physical standpoint. You're not judging me from an appearance standpoint. And that, it's kind of like New York. When you, like, if you come from the rural areas of, like, Midwest culture in America, you feel very judged as a gay person. You're usually disowned by your families. A lot of people are disowned by their family, even if they live on the East Coast or whatever. But then when you end up in New York, it's like nobody cares because there's so much of a melting pot of people that acceptance is there by default. You still have prejudiced people that might not serve trans people at a restaurant in New York and this and that, and we're still dealing with these transitions. Everybody always feels like they have to fight for their right within society, and there's no problem with that. At least you just keep going until it's accepted as a normalcy, and it's sad that it has to be put that way. But yeah, that's the way I see it.
Okay, so maybe we should hit up Hawk.
Yeah, I would love to have him. I've been wanting to have him on the show because I want to see from his perspective, what does he have to go through on a daily basis. He's had his successes, he's had his downfalls. He's from the Bronx. I just want to have more of an insight on like through his side of being an entertainer, what he goes through in comparison to us. Is there a big difference? Is there a small difference? So look out for that. I think we're definitely going to make that happen.
Okay, cool. Well, that answers my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to have a conversation. Just understand it more, because it's like, I don't know. But, you have anything else you want to talk about?
It keeps hitting the tip of my mind, and then I keep feeling like we get into like different conversations. But what
do you think of journalism?
Journalism
These days. I want to preface that with this tweet that I saw by this comedian that I follow, Andrew Schultz. He said on Twitter the other day, "Is anyone held to a lower standard than is anyone held to a lower standard than today's journalists? They don't have to research what they write. They don't have to tell the truth. They don't even have to correct their mistakes." Help me understand. Journalists call for a comedian to get fired for things in his past. Then journalists have things in their past surfaced, but don't step down, don't get fired. Help me understand.
Journalism, to me, I've seen it also through publicists and marketers, quote unquote. It's an art form where very few, one, respect it, two, on a literacy level, do it well, and three, it's especially in our fast-paced society, journalists are like doctors, right? Journalists like doctors are supposed to be under the oath of telling the truth. Like a doctor, like if a doctor sees you don't have money, he should be under the oath, if he wants to truly heal you or help you, do it without financing, because they take that oath as a doctor. Like if they say they literally see someone dying or they're in bad health and this person doesn't have a budget, like it's up to you as a doctor, like to really make that decision. Do I want to help them even though I can't get anything out of it? And the same thing with journalism. I feel like the art has died over the years, one, because we have people that take advantage of it for popularity, because we live in a society, a generation where popularity is over everything. So you're going to do what you have to do to get recognition within your field. So there's a lot of publicists that are horrible writers. Like there's a lot of people that write on a 3rd, 4th grade level because in society a lot of people can only read on that level. Secondly, if you're not telling the truth, you're doing a disservice to your community, to whoever's reading, because now there's an infiltration of lies. That what do you trust? Between having Adobe, Photoshop, Premiere, the way we can manipulate even video footage, we don't know where we're getting our information anymore. So journalism, one, is also a hard field to get into because there's less and less people that are reading paper, literally paper books, paper newspapers, all these things. It's literally died out because of technology, and that's not a bad thing. Technology is helping the rainforest, and maybe it's not helping with frequencies and radiation and all that other stuff, but we're saving paper, but we're not saving the people. And that, to me, is why it is it's not a respected field anymore, and that's why it's harder to find jobs within it, because it's a dying culture. It's a dying culture, and it's the same thing. We live in a fast-paced, fast food, informational spot, and it's easier for people. So for sure you can have these quick, okay, I'm gonna blurb this, let me start this commotion, this is the new art form.
Clickbait. Yeah, I mean, I asked that also because just with this whole Tekashi mess going on lately, apparently some of the stuff that came out of that story were incorrect, and then obviously people post it on social media, and then it spreads like wildfire. You know what I mean?
Misery is made to be memes. You know, it's just, I don't know, everything.
Before I forget,
yeah,
before you get into a little rant,
that's okay.
Here's I haven't done this in a while, but a little conspiracy theory that I was buying into that you might buy into.
Okay. Sipping that tea.
Do you think
I gotta match this one.
Tekashi or Daniel, whatever his real name was a plant by the NYPD?
Was a plant?
Do you think he was planted in a particular area?
Yeah. I mean,
to use to bring down
we spoke
certain organized crime organizations.
We've spoken on it before. Hip hop police is a real thing. The music industry always does work closely with people that could be taken advantage of. That's what the music industry does in general. You'll find the young guys that don't know better. Fat Joe knows that. You know,
why Fat Joe?
Why Fat Joe? Because he doesn't want to deal with anybody that's a quote unquote snitch. You know, Dipset said it in their lyrics, like, you know, we're not making money off of music, we're making money off of drug money. And that's the way that, unfortunately, it was built in the hood to survive, because there is no other opportunities elsewhere. So when the feds or the FBI do pay, that's why I feel like the music industry is there's so much money circulating within the music industry, because a lot of the times the music influences the culture becomes a reality for these young kids, where they are selling drugs, or that frequency is telling them, yo, like, violence is the way, you know what I'm saying? And that's why that shit becomes popular, because it gives it, there's more seeds planted to put people in jail, which makes money. Jails are the biggest. Again, it's all connected. So you're right on your conspiracy theory, where the more that you see gangster culture and music, even if it's, you know, looks like a circus through trap music, that's the new gangster music. That's, you know, that's the new rap, the new NWA, where they want to find everybody and pinpoint and, you know, because now even what you say in your raps will be held against you.
Oh yeah.
So
what you post in your videos on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, all that's going to be used against you, which is so stupid.
You cut the grass, you find all the snakes. and that's what they're doing.
And the snake get caught in the
lawnmower.
Blood everywhere.
That's Tekashi right there. It sucks. It sucks because it's like, oh yeah, this guy, he looks ignorant enough. We could take advantage of him, and that's it. Boom, you're done. You're done. If you don't play the game smart, you're done.
It made me respect Bobby Shmurda more.
Yeah.
Because Bobby Shmurda, the story is that he was supposed to get, I think, 5 years. And then his boy was supposed to get like a ridiculous amount of years, maybe like 10 to 15 or something like that. And they said that he would get less if Bobby took 2 extra years. And Bobby took the 2 years. So his boy can only do 7 or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then they come out maybe a little closer to each other.
Respect.
And that's the thing. 5 years of your life gone. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I was doing the math, and it was like, I know he went in about 4 or 5 years ago, so he should be coming out soon, which is dope. Because he was out there, man. Bobby Shmurda. I actually liked his stuff too, and unfortunately, got caught up in the wrong lifestyle.
Yeah, man. It's like for me, when you're the youth from the hood, you might be talented, you might be getting your way, but somebody above you is gonna take advantage of your innocence to a certain extent, even if you are street smart and this and that, and then they're always going to find a way to manipulate it to make money off of you, or I don't know. It's a tough game, man. Like, it's hard to even know, again, what you just said about journalism. It's hard to know what the truth is, and I feel like even for us, we are the new age journalists. When you guys listen to podcasts, we can only deliver you our truths. So when we tell you, how we're making it, how we got a little contract going, is it really working to our advantage or not? Like, I think for us, I think that's why in these cultures, when you are honest, that's the only thing that's going to break the system and work to our advantage. Because if you're honest with people and you're transparent, that's it, man. Show people the struggle. Let people know you're not alone, because that's the whole sense of community.
That's the funny thing, because a lot of people see like the fruits of the labor and don't ever see the labor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's one of the main reasons why we started this podcast, because it's like you see the pot of gold, but you don't see the fucked up rainbow that was along the way of you achieving this pot of gold.
Yeah. I can show you guys my debt to have a large portion of this equipment. Like you guys will know the stories that go into this. There's like so much sacrifice. So not everything that glitters is gold, and and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, like, again, I had a friend, he's a close artist friend, and he let me know that he does what you do at a school. He works with kids with autism, and then at night he also works to fix planes that land in Newark Airport before they take off. And I'm like, wow, like, I never knew this about you. And I'm like, it's commendable. And sometimes when you let people know, what you're going through, I think the impact of your successes are even so much more, insightful and so much more applauded, because it's like, okay, you didn't come from, I just got it by default,
Just putting a song on SoundCloud.
Exactly.
But who was that, by the way?
Dez.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, man.
Shout out to Dez, man.
He is a very humble human
Desmond.
Desmond.
Where was I even going with that? I don't know where I was going with that. So with the Tekashi thing, right? It brought me to look up some information in journalist style. Because the story was that he was throwing people under the bus or whatever. He was throwing out Jim Jones' name, and apparently he's throwing out Cardi B's name, and stuff like that. And apparently it wasn't true. But it brought me to think, like, what is the point of this person or any person that's brought to trial naming these people's names if they're not directly associated with a particular crime? You know what I mean?
It's not that they're associated with a particular crime. They're associated with a particular gang. If they're all bloods.
My point exactly.
Yeah.
So my thought was, you can get arrested for just being in a gang.
Yeah. So he wants to make it guilty of association, because he's saying, well, if you if you're on me, you gotta realize everybody else involved. Like, is this a gang? Because now the gang members are saying we're gonna go quiet when one of our own are in this. So I feel like he feels betrayed because he's like, all right, you looking at me, but these motherfuckers been doing it for years.
Yeah, but I mean, the point of me bringing that up is the idea of gang affiliation and whether you can get charged for just being part of a gang. Because it's like, the way I was seeing it's like, you and I are going down the street. We are a gang, right? You've committed crimes. I've just been part of the gang.
Yeah.
But then I get charged with something because we associate with each other and you're affiliated
Well,
to
sure.
this particular gang.
For me in America, you can either play the game of guilty association, but you know what else is also fair game in America is like you can keep going until you're caught. And it's how you wash your money. This is what a lot of people do. A lot of people can't come at a Jay-Z anymore. It's because of how he washed his money. It's like people can't backtrack. The IRS, anybody else, a lot of these people can't backtrack where these artists got their money from or how they found their fame or how they invested it. And that's the thing. It's the mafia. It's the same thing. A lot of people, you don't hear about the mafia always getting caught because they specialize in how they wash their money. You know what I'm saying? And I think the biggest mafia with the government is like they do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's all political. It's like, how do we, fuck up a situation and make profit off of it? Whether it's a war, whether it's quote unquote terrorism. That's it, man. It's all a profit game, especially in a capitalistic society. So, I mean, we could be here for days on the layer cake, but at the end of the day, it's like sometimes people are just preferred too. If you're the hated underdog, for sure, you're going to end up like Tekashi behind bars. If you're a cooler, iconic person like Cardi B, they're not looking into you. One, you're a female. You see how they came out? Like Cardi even said, I drug guys, took their money. Nah, it's a female. So, all right, she's hot.
Remember we talked about that too. I was like, nothing's going to happen to her. She's way too big.
You know what I'm saying? But if that came out of somebody else's mouth, forget about it. It's favoritism.
If it came out of a guy's mouth.
Yeah. It's favoritism. And that's how it is. I deal with favoritism in my personal life. There is favoritism everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like,
shots fired. Anyway, I just wanted to read this real quick. The federal government doesn't currently have any particular laws against gang affiliation. However, it does prosecute known gang members under the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization statute, which is what's known as the RICO statute. Racketeering is defined as operating an unlawful business. This sort of crime is typically associated with the mafia or organized crime, which is why I feel, whether these stories are right or wrong, these names are being thrown out there because I think he is getting charged with racketeering or something like that. So just to clarify to certain people that have been asking me, well, I've been putting it out there and I've been telling everybody I was going to do research on it. And that's pretty much the research I got. So depending on the crime, you could get charged for being affiliated with a particular gang. If there is a crime that you can be, not you could be associated with, but just under the statute, basically.
I just feel it's gang against gang. It's pride against pride. That's all it is. I think the strongest thing that we are seeing happening is the Bloods and the Crips coming together and stuff like that. Did you watch Revolt TV's?
I never watched Revolt TV, so that answers your question.
There we go. They had Killer Mike, T.I., a couple other
I heard about that.
politicians on it. It's very interesting, especially when it came to the black community. They said if we all called out of work on the same day, that power in numbers type of vibe. I was also having a discussion with my black friends that, if it was more like people united instead of like, looked at each other side-eyed, there'd be a lot of powerful movements. Yeah. And I think that's, again, it's just a power numbers thing. It could be Hispanic community. If the Hispanic community wanted to, speak up for themselves on immigration and stuff, like this power numbers. But I feel like a lot of people can't, due to stigmatisms and, marketing of how people put fear out there, there's less and less of that bond. We're always fighting the bond because there's things out there to make us seem like there isn't the bond when there really is, and people don't come together. But if you did, it's like Dave Chappelle said, if black people actually went to the store and started buying guns and putting it in their name, the government would change the gun laws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, there's things out there that if you can literally organize it, and even Jay and I see it in our business. When Jay and I take the time to organize and say, Friday morning, we're going to the bank to open an account, it changes the whole process of our business, how things work. Now that we can have a savings for taxes, how we could put stuff on our card, we're tax free. There's these little increments that you get. I don't know. You get like you get these advantages that you wouldn't get normally as a citizen. You know what I'm saying? So when you take these extra steps, you see a change in the system. And that might be within our business because we took the extra steps to say, hey, we're going to go to the bank. We're going to take this time. We're both going to be there to sign. That made a change. So when you do that on a larger scale level as a business, as a people, you're going to see these changes. But a lot of people don't. They're lazy to do it. They're fearful. There's a lot of things that go into it. And that's why nobody will ever see change until the unification.
That's my thing, is like, just going off the power of numbers things. I have a friend that I'm not going to put the name out there because they're currently battling at work or whatever, but
Gotcha.
Probably listen to this as we speak.
Is this a shots fired?
No. This person has a one of those asshole bosses, right?
Damn.
That I hear stories and I'm like, how does this person even have a job? And it's like, it's because of that. He's instilled this fear in this group of people that are under him where they don't band together. And I'm like asking all the time, I'm like, yo, why don't you guys go together to HR and complain about this guy? Because the things that he says and does to these people, it's like fucking cruel.
Crazy.
And I mentioned that all the time, and it's like, why is it so difficult for people to come together, come on the same page and be like, yo, this is what's going on? And as the job that HR has to do is to take that to the next level, because it has to keep your identity, your identity anonymous, basically.
You know what it is? Because if people don't know better, and this is why education, information is so important, but we live in an educational system where you are on a conveyor belt as a human from the day that you're born. Everything, like I said, in Egypt, kids were a lot, or like just in general, I feel like we spoke about this too, and I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. When you're born and usually in a hospital. You're not born the way you should be. Most mammals are supposed to be born squatting. First of all, they make it harder on the woman laying on her back. So they have to induce her with drugs. Already the drugs are in her bloodstream. It's going to the baby. After that, she gives birth, right? They cut the umbilical cord easy, a lot sooner than they should, because a lot of proteins and...
Can you get to the point?
I will. A lot of proteins. Let me finish.
You're losing me, man.
No, I'm not going to lose you. Just listen. You're smarter than that.
No, I get that. It's just...
No, check this out. So when they do that, a lot of people, like, again, they give you shots and stuff like that. You almost become a fucking drone, okay? Then you go to school. They teach you what they want to teach you. You're never being taught to be an entrepreneur. You're taught to follow a system, to go to college, pay for college, be in debt, that you have to work for somebody else, and that's what it's set up to be. So when people feel that they've been only taught this and don't know better, they are in fear that they will lose their job, they're not good enough, all this. I'm telling you, the first thing that would come out of this person's mouth if they lost that job is that they end up depressed because they feel like they're not good enough, or without that job, they're nothing. And I doubt that you feel like that if you lost your job, because you know the other path. You know that you're worth and that you can start your own business. Where a lot of people feel lost, that if they don't feel that sense of community or acceptance from somebody else, if they lost a job, and that one person in power, even though they're not that powerful, is the reason to their whole life changing. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we live with all this. So That's why that one person could control all those people. It's like a slave master. I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to hurt one of you, and you're all going to hurt if you fucking come for me. And that's how people have to live under that rule of thumb, because if you don't feel like you have any other outlet, like you're not good enough, that you can't use your degree for anything else, you're fucking stuck. And they will live off of that. And that's why people have that position of power. Oh, you want your job? You do what I say. Because if not, that person, if you came for that person, if they know that you're aggressive enough to take their position and their check, there's going to be a lot of problems. They're going to get rid of you before you even have the chance to do so. It's very far and few that can actually do that. That's why you see the same moguls always ahead of the game. There's always that boss. How did he stay in that position for so long? Because that's the influence they have. If you're going to be a boss, have to know how to manipulate everybody under you and have the upper hand. Until you break out of that mentality, you are stuck in your position, and you are stuck being a slave to the system and the person you're working for. There's tons of people that struggled because they came out of that mindset. They're like, there's got to be something else for me out here. And you're one of the people to witness it. You can find how you can make money outside of working for somebody. You work for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Until you find that for yourself.
But some people aren't built that way.
Some people aren't built that way.
Everybody can be self-sufficient outside of a 9-to-5. And some people are just comfortable with it.
Exactly. But I'm telling you, most of us are built to be that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's all people. The parents tell the kids, you got to go to college. This is the way it is. Because if you come from an impoverished place or country or living situation, that's where your only hope is.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's telling you, you should start your own business. We're living in a generation where you're seeing that for the first time. You're seeing the Gary V's that are influencing people to break out of it and start their own businesses in a capitalistic society, because there's gains and advantages, even though it's a longer road. And this is the even with my own family, it's like I always have to prove that it is a longer road, but there's benefit in having your own.
Mm-hmm.
I can go take a shit when I want. I don't have to ask somebody, can I use the bathroom? Can I take a lunch break? My anxiety would be ridden if I had to ask somebody all the time. You know what I'm saying? You remember even being in school, how nervous you were sometimes to ask to use the bathroom? You almost got on the teacher's nerves. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Some people have to live with that. They are literally teaching and training you since that day one in school to be a certain type of person. You have to do a lot of real life dealing to break out of that. And when you do realize it, even if you were the under person at that job and you're like, I'm better than this, like I can be that manager.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to take that risk to come for that person. Blood has to be drawn to take the throne. That's all I'm saying. And if you feel you're good enough, you're smart enough, and that you can hold that position, go for it. Don't be intimidated by that person, because guess what? Their bark is way louder than their bite. And I'm just saying that to whoever is going through this, you should go for it. If you feel like you're in this position where you could do better and like more than this person, go for it. Let that person bark at you. Even if you have, you'll see a little tears drop, like deal with that emotion, but keep pushing through it.
You could have said that from the beginning.
No, but I want to give people insight, because sometimes, again, people don't know why they feel some way.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, to me, personally, that's why we feel that way. Because we're trained. We're like dogs. That's it. You're the first time that you're looking into conspiracies. And I'm kind of proud of that, because it's at least a different angle. You don't have to believe the conspiracies. Some people don't have to believe like 9/11 was set up.
Truth seeking.
Exactly.
Not conspiracies.
Truth seeking. But listen to even how you put it. You had to break away from the title that was given. You know what I'm saying? That's what hip hop community does. Dope was known as a bad thing, right? Mm-hmm. Dope was a drug. But then it's how you flip the word. Are we going to use it in a positive sense or not? And it's the same thing within the workforce. To say you're an employee and this and that, you already put in like a category that, okay, I could be fired at any moment. Seek your truth.
Okay. So what do you think about structure then?
Structure is always needed. Always needed. That's what makes the army so powerful. That's what made the Romans such a powerful army, is because they had structure.
So respect to authority.
Respect to it, not to authority. It's respect to a leader. A leader knows how to fall back. If the employee had a better idea than me, right? We're in a partnership. I would never work as a leader because we know how to fall back with each other. If you approach me with an idea and I know it's 10 times better than what I was going with, for sure I'm going to listen to you. But if you come from an egotistical standpoint that I'm in this position, I was given this position because I'm better than everybody else and all that, that's what makes... I'm saying there's tons of bosses that are great out there. And I feel even those bosses would be willing to give up their position if they know somebody would make the company better. Not everybody's willing to do that. And if you have somebody that is this egotistical, manipulating person, honestly, you should work to take over that position, because you know what your employees need to be a better company. There's a reason why a lot of companies are failing, because you have these people in position of power.
You know what's funny? I know somebody that owns a nonprofit, and he got screwed over by somebody that he was training, basically.
Okay.
Because his main thing is like, if you work for me, I'm here to build you up, and if you want to go and start your own thing, I'm here to help, type of thing. And this person still went behind his back, and from what I heard, stole money, stole clients, and basically dipped after getting all this information.
Look at the fashion industry, right? When were the high points and the low points of certain companies like Gucci? Look at where H&M is. Like, when you don't have a good leader, when you don't have a good prospect, it's the difference. Like when Riccardo Tisci came in for Givenchy, it was Givenchy's best lines. The world felt it. It was probably their biggest profits because they had a good person directing them. You don't have an egotistical person that, I'm the best designer. But then like the pieces are horrible. Like, that's why I'm saying great leadership. There shouldn't be an arrogance to leadership, to a manager position, to a boss position. Know how to fall back. Know when you have to put your employees in line because they're not doing what they should be doing. A great manager doesn't have to work hard. Because they're putting people in good positions to get the job done.
So let's wrap this up because I gotta go.
Yes, sir.
Again, we were a little rusty today, so sorry if we bored you guys. But
I thought we came out good.
If you're watching the YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Same thing on Apple Podcasts. Leave a rating.
Yes.
Leave a review, please, because that helps us out a lot. And Spotify. Follow us on Spotify if that's your platform of choice.
And give us insight. If you guys are disagreeing with anything we're saying, please let us know that too.
No, it's not even that. Just give us some ideas.
Give us some
what
ideas.
You want to hear. This is hard thinking of topics every day while doing all the other things that we're doing. So, but yeah, we just want to know what you guys want us to talk about on here, and we can have a conversation.
Yeah,
we're open to these conversations. So hopefully we can build, learn, and entertain each other somehow.
And I think by next time, episode 24, I would like to have Hawk.
Well, we got to see what his schedule looks like.
Yeah.
Can't say that because we're going to be like, oh, we're going to have him in the next episode.
No, I'm not.
We're going to have him in the next episode.
But I would like to gun for it. It'd be cool.
Let's figure that out. So, I'll be out to LA this weekend, surprising a friend for his birthday party. So by the time you hear this, so I'll see if I have anything interesting to talk about when I get back.
Yes.
But in the meantime,
in between time, let's hit him with the intro in the outro. Wham! Can you hear it?